Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me for our latest Railbookers webinar, our top 5 holidays via the Alps. My name's Sam. I'll be your host today and trying to give you a bit of inspiration for that next holiday away, which hopefully won't be too far away now. I always like to start with our Alps holidays by saying traditionally these are our most popular trips. They give you the perfect scenic route into Europe. And some of those top destinations we're looking at today, such as Venice, Vienna, Florence, Rome, and also a bit of luxury on board the Orient Express as well, just to name a few. So for those of you that have been on our webinars before, you'll know that we do start just by talking to you through a little bit about the company. So please do indulge me if you've heard this bit before. This really is for those of you that are new to Railbookers and haven't used our services or been on our webinars before. Just to start, a bit of exciting news. We have got a current promotion out, which is called Pick Your Perk. And really it's designed to give you the option of adding a little bit of luxury to your holiday at minimal or no extra cost. We're offering anywhere between £300 and £500 towards any upgrades, additional extras, extensions to your stay that might help make your next trip away that extra bit special. So as you can see there, anything from upgrading your train tickets and hotels to extending your stay or adding on tours and activities. And we'll have a look as we go through this webinar at some of the upgrades that Railbookers has to offer when it comes to our holidays. We also have some new brochures available for you. In addition to our worldwide independent rail holidays brochure, which we bring out every year, we do now have a luxury rail journeys brochure featuring holidays such as the Venice Simplon Orient Express to Venice. Also have the Maharaja Express in India, Bangkok to Singapore on the Eastern Oriental Express as well. So if you're looking for a little bit of luxury, please download that one. Also, we've introduced a new UK rail holidays brochure. A lot of people, of course, this year looking to stay closer to home. A lot of customers talking to us about going up to Scotland, perhaps the Isle of Skye, the Hebrides, Edinburgh, maybe Fort William to do the Jacobite steam train, been very, very popular this year. And also we have a cruise extensions brochure. So anyone looking to take a river cruise, perhaps looking to extend their holiday or do some pre and post travel before the cruise, we have a set of holidays designed around cruise extensions in Europe. So please feel free to download as many of those brochures as you wish from our website. We also have our maximum flexibility policy, which currently runs until 30th of June 2021. What this means is for any customers who book between now and the end of June, you will have the option to change or postpone your travel dates up to 5 days prior to departure. And you'll also be able to change your destination as well, and the duration of your trip. So we are being as flexible as we can in these times, meaning that if you were looking to book a holiday now for later in the year to try and secure the best prices and the availability, we can do that for you. And then as you approach that time when you're getting closer to travel, if it doesn't look like it's going to go ahead, you can move the dates further down the line, or you could switch to a destination where things have opened up. So we're trying to give people as much flexibility as possible right now, and of course you don't incur any change fees or penalty fees while we have our flexibility policy in place. Just a quick look at why our customers come to us for our holidays and what it is they like about Railbookers. So that top middle one there I think is very important. Book and travel from today to 2 years ahead. So of course nobody's traveling today or tomorrow right now, but if you're somebody that's thinking, well, I'm not looking to book anything right now, but as soon as I can get away, I want to book a trip ASAP. As soon as those guidelines are changed and we can get out and about and travel, if you're still thinking I want to travel the week after, we can book you straight away. So we don't have to book 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance. We can get you away, that week, that day, even if you wish. If you're somebody perhaps that wants to look a little bit further in advance and is thinking about that next big holiday into 2022 or even further ahead into 2023, we can book that for you now as well. So we can start talking to you about holidays as far as 2 years in advance. We mentioned maximum flexibility with our policy, but we also have maximum flexibility with our holidays as well. So everything we do is customized. It's all tailor-made to fit your specifications, which means that it's any date for any length of time to any destination, as long as the train goes there. So do we. So if you can't see something on our website, or you don't see something on the webinar today, don't hesitate to give us a call, because chances are we may well be able to offer it to you. Of course, we profess to be the rail experts as well. Sometimes it can look a bit complex when you're looking at the European rail network map to see exactly how you can get from A to B to C. So we're here to take the stress out of it for you. And as I mentioned, you know, if you don't see something that you like today, we have a huge product selection of holidays on our website. So we're going to go through our top 5 Alps holidays today, but there's well over 500 holidays on the website for you to take a look at if you don't see what you like this afternoon. Also, just for some peace of mind, I think it's nice to know that you'll have 24-hour support from our global offices whilst you're on your holidays. We do have 5 offices globally. Currently, of course, we're all working from home, so there's nobody in the offices, but we are there for you globally should you need us. So we have 2 offices based out of the US, in California and Massachusetts, our office in London, and then Toronto in Canada and Sydney, Australia as well. And what this means is that wherever you are in the world, or whatever time of day it may be where you are, you should be able to get through to somebody in our dedicated after sales team to be able to assist you, which means that, as I say, you can get through to us at any time of day. Also nice, I think, just to look at the relationships that we have with some of the rail providers across Europe and North America that allow us to book these trips last minute or up to 2 years in advance. Some of you may well know that usually you can only book rail travel up to about 90 days in advance, sometimes a bit further. Eurostar perhaps 6 months, but a lot of train travel can only be booked within 90 days. We allow you to be able to book these holidays well in advance of that, as I say, up to 2 years. Also gives us the preferential fares. We can put forward any special requests that you might have on the journeys as well. So we partner with all the main operators across Europe and North America. And finally, rail operators are still, you know, maintaining as safe an environment as possible, requiring facial coverings on trains and in stations as well. A lot of them did stop the sale of food and drink on board trains at the beginning of the pandemic. They have eased that now. They've started to reintroduce food and drink on board trains, finding a more hygienic way to do it as well. If you want a bit more detailed information on exactly what's available on board each service, then our experts will be able to talk you through that. Of course, there is reduced seating and allocation on board to allow for continued social distancing, of course, increased cleaning and sanitation, and contactless ticket control, which will last now, I think, into the future. I'm sure we're all getting used to living in a contactless world. Can't remember the last time I paid for anything with cash, to be honest. It'll be the same with our travel documents. They will be e-tickets more than likely on our phones, on our tablets, again, just for increased hygiene and sanitation. Okay, so let's take a look at our holidays. That's what we're all here for, after all. So we're going to start with our Amalfi coast via the Alps holiday. Takes you through the Swiss Alps into Italy. It's a 6-night, 7-day trip starting from £1,579 per person. So this holiday starts in London, as all these trips do. Now, just because the holiday is priced from London and starts in London, of course, it doesn't mean that we can't get you down from your regional station. We appreciate that only a fraction of the population live in London. So if you need to get into London, we can coordinate that for you as well and make sure that your times match up with the Eurostar. So do let us know. But for the purposes of this webinar and the holidays that you see on our website, they are based and priced on the Eurostar out of London. So Eurostar over to Paris is around 2.5 hours. You'll arrive into Paris Gare du Nord, and then you'll need to transfer across to Paris Gare de Lyon. We do offer metro tickets included, complimentary in the packages as well, so you don't need to worry about picking them up at the station, or we can include a private transfer for you across Paris if you wish. You'll depart from the Gare de Lyon station on the high-speed TGV service about 3.5 hours down to Geneva for that first night in Geneva. You'll get to Geneva for early evening. The hotel that we use is a nice 4-star hotel right by the station, very close to the city centre and Lake Geneva itself. So you can spend the evening strolling around the old town, admiring the lake and getting a nice bite to eat in Geneva. And then the following morning is when your scenic journey really begins. So this is the journey through the stunning Swiss Alps along the Simplon Pass between Geneva and Milan. The train does depart relatively early, just before 8 a.m., but it means that you'll get to Florence that afternoon in time for lunch, and you're going to have the best part of that first afternoon in Florence as well. As I say, this really is one of the highlights of the journey, the trip through the Simplon Pass as it cuts through the Swiss Alps. Something I would recommend through the Simplon Pass is upgrading to first class on board the train. We wouldn't necessarily recommend upgrading on all services. Of course, if you're somebody that's used to traveling first class and wants to travel first class all the way, we can do that for you. If you're used to traveling standard class and would like recommendations of where to upgrade, that's what we're here for. And I would really recommend upgrading to first class on the Simplon Pass route between Geneva and Milan. Usually it's only about an extra 30-40 euros to upgrade. You're going to get more comfortable seats, better, nicer spacing, bit quieter, you know, and some nice, really nice views, some even better views of the stunning Swiss Alps from the comfort of a first class seat. So a recommendation from myself there. I'd also perhaps recommend an extra night in Florence as well, if you can, if you've got the time. You're going to have, you know, that afternoon in Florence, but you know, if you really want to see Florence, of course, an extra night and an extra day would really help. You've also got Pisa, Siena, Lucca, that Tuscan area to visit. We're very easy by train. They're only about an hour each of those destinations out of Florence. So if you were looking to expand on the trip, then there's some nice areas around Florence that you can get to as well very easily by train that we can include into the holiday. After your time in Florence, then it's the high-speed train down to Naples. And from there, you're going to take a regional service, a private train called the Circum Vesuviana, which literally translates to around Vesuvius. And that'll take you down to the Amalfi Coast in Sorrento. Now, those tickets do have to be purchased locally at Naples station. They're only about €5, and the train itself takes about an hour to get down to Sorrento. We give you 4 nights in Sorrento, which gives you ample amount of time to explore that magnificent Amalfi coastline and those fantastic beaches in the area there. Plenty of time to travel along to places like Amalfi or Positano. So we base you in Sorrento, but you can take the buses around Amalfi and actually explore the whole coastline while you're there. If you did wish to stay in Amalfi itself, we can base you there. The reason we use Sorrento is because it's a really nice, very easy to access from Naples, first of all, and also it's actually probably the most cost-effective place on the Amalfi Coast to stay. The Amalfi Coast can be quite an expensive area to stay in, so Sorrento tends to offer the best value, and then you can travel around as you please. So I mentioned the Simplon Pass earlier. As I say, going to have some magnificent views of the Swiss Alps as you travel between Geneva and Milan. Highly recommend traveling in first class. As I did say, it is a slightly early start that morning, but if you pick the right time of year and you're lucky with the weather, you may get to see the sun rise over the Alps, which is a real highlight. But just the Simplon Pass in itself features on many of our Italian holidays via the Alps, so a real highlight of these holidays. Also, I mentioned earlier on the possibility of upgrading your hotels or upgrading tours on our holiday packages, and Florence is a great example of this. There's an opportunity to upgrade to the Villa San Michele hotel, which is actually a Belmond property. Belmond own the Venice Simplon Orient Express, of course, so it's a real luxury hotel. All the prices are based usually on 4-star accommodation, city centre, perfect location. But we do have these options for a bit of luxury if you wish to upgrade to a 5-star. This hotel here is nestled in the Fiesole Hills, which are about a 15-minute bus ride away from the centre of Florence, and they offer incredible views over Florence and the Tuscan area. So this would be an opportunity perhaps to upgrade if you were celebrating your time in Florence. In Sorrento, we do have a really nice featured hotel that comes part of the package. You're spending 4 nights in Sorrento, so we do want to base you in a really nice hotel. This is the Hilton Sorrento Palace that we include as standard with these packages. It has panoramic views of the Bay of Naples and that dramatic Amalfi Coast. Hotel's about a 15-minute walk from the heart of the historic centre of Sorrento, so perfectly located. It has a fantastic citrus garden that surrounds the hotel. It has 6 outdoor pools, indoor pool as well, and a rooftop pool. So it's a real nice place to base yourself in Sorrento for those 4 days and then get out and explore the area. So a variation on the same theme is our grand Venice, Florence and Rome holiday. Again, this starts out of London, takes you via Paris to Geneva, that one night in Geneva, and then that breathtaking journey from Geneva through the Alps and the Simplon Pass to Milan. Difference here is that when you're traveling through to Venice, you don't need to change trains in Milan. I know Milan features on the map there, but it is a direct train from Geneva through to Venice. If you're traveling down to Naples or Florence or Rome, you do always have to change in Milan. Traveling through to Venice, it's a straight shot from Geneva. You'll leave Geneva, as I mentioned, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you'll be into Venice for around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You've then got 6 nights in these 3 famous Italian cities, Venice, Florence and Rome. I've always thought that Venice is perhaps the nicest city in the world to arrive into by train. It's a real jaw-dropping experience when you arrive into Santa Lucia station, walk out of those steps, and then you've got the Grand Canal in front of you and the buildings seemingly floating on the water. It's a view that you're not afforded necessarily if you arrive by air. I think the first time you travel to Venice, if you do arrive by train, it really has that wow factor. So after taking the Simplon Pass, through the Alps from Geneva and then arriving into Venice, it's really a magical way to start the holiday. We do like to include as much sightseeing as we can for you as well, especially in these cities where you need tickets to be pre-booked or queues are around the block if you don't have a skip the line. We do understand that your time's precious on these trips and we don't want you to be queuing up for hours to be able to visit some of these attractions. So in Venice, we include entry to the Doge's Palace, also a gondola ride and walking tour included in the price as well. In Florence, you have entrance to the Uffizi Gallery, and in Rome, you have the Vatican Museum tour included, and also a tour of ancient Rome as well. So we do make sure that those highlights are included in the holiday, so you don't miss out on anything while you're there. And also just to mention that those train journeys between Venice, Florence and Rome are only an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. So again, you're not spending a huge amount of time traveling once you're in Italy. The majority of your time is going to be spent in the destinations themselves. Then coming back, and I didn't mention this in the previous package, I do apologize. You have the flight option, of course, to fly back from Naples or to fly back from Rome. But of course, you're on a Railbookers webinar, you may be thinking, well, I've come to Railbookers because I don't wish to fly. I want to take the train back. So absolutely, you can take the train back on all of these holidays. The price is based on the flight back, but if you would like to take the train back to the UK, you absolutely can do. And the nicest route to do it, a slightly different way to do it on the way back, is to travel via Turin. So there are direct trains from Rome to Turin. There are also direct trains from Naples to Turin if you're taking our Amalfi coast holiday as well. You can get to Turin for early afternoon, have the afternoon in Turin, spend an evening there, and then the next morning you can take that direct high-speed TGV train to Paris, change onto the Eurostar and be back to London for early evening. So it does add an extra day onto the trip, but it's a really nice way to travel back to the UK if you don't wish to fly, and you get to experience another city in Turin as well. So on both these holidays we've looked at, you get to stop in Geneva. As I mentioned, Geneva, a really nice place just to spend the evening. It's not a large city. It can be walked around very comfortably indeed. Of course, perhaps if you did wish to spend a bit more time there and visit the surrounding areas, you could include an extra night, of course. Also, just wish to mention that you don't have to necessarily stay in Geneva in Switzerland. You could perhaps stay in Zurich. You could also stay in Lausanne. Our packages do mix and match, and like I say, everything is customizable. So if you've been to Geneva before and you'd wish to stay somewhere else before traveling through the Alps, just let us know and we'll be able to advise you of the best city to base yourself in before continuing your journey. I also mentioned arriving into Venice by train. In the distance there, you can see the Santa Lucia station and the steps that the people are wandering down, and you can see that view that you're going to have of the Grand Canal as you arrive. Really is a magical view as you leave the station in Venice. Something we often find in Venice, a lot of our customers ask for are upgrades, not necessarily upgrading the hotels. We do have 5-star hotels in Venice, of course, big, grand Renaissance buildings almost, and but they can come at quite a premium. So quite often customers will upgrade their hotel rooms in Venice to a canal view room. We often do that for a lot of people, especially if they're celebrating an occasion in Venice. One of our best-selling hotels is a hotel called the Palazzo Giovanelli. It's a lovely 4-star, but right on the Grand Canal itself, and they do have superior rooms with views of the Grand Canal. So if you are thinking about traveling to Venice and you do want to make it a little bit special, but you don't want to break the bank necessarily by upgrading to a 5-star, really nice way to do it is just to upgrade the room category to a canal view room and make it that little bit special while you're there. Also, while you're traveling through Italy, another suggestion is perhaps to upgrade your rail to first class. And one of the reasons is because it's so affordable. It can be anywhere, from 5 to 10 euros to upgrade your journeys in Italy. It really is very affordable indeed. You'll get a lot more space, a lot more relaxation, a bit more comfort on board these journeys. I mean, all the trains that you're going to be using are modern. They're all high speed. So even in standard class, you're going to get a good level of comfort and service, but just a little bit nicer if you upgrade to first class. On some of the journeys as well, you will get complimentary welcome drink, juice, coffee, plus sweet and salty snack as well. And an Italian language newspaper, which if you don't speak Italian won't be much use to you, but you do get a newspaper as well. So I think upgrading to first class, almost a no-brainer in Italy because it's so cheap and you get a lot of extra comfort from it as well. Of course, on this holiday, you're going to visit Rome as well. A huge amount to see in Rome. You don't need to tell you what there is to see in Rome. Of course, Colosseum, Trevi Fountain. This is a great view of the Spanish Steps, though. One of those real sights to see in Rome, and right in the center of the city. And this is a view from one of the hotels that we list, which is the Inn at the Spanish Steps. So it really highlights, the location of our hotels. And if you upgrade to one of the rooms with the balconies, you can see here, you've got a fantastic view of the Spanish Steps themselves. So we do try to have something to cater for everyone. Hotels anywhere from 3-star all the way to 5-star. We do try and make sure they're right in the city center, so you're as close to all the attractions as possible. Okay, so switching from Italy to Austria now. So we're going to have a look at a holiday that still, again, begins in Switzerland, but takes you through the Swiss Alps into the Austrian Alps, and then on Salzburg and Vienna via the Elberg Pass. So journey still begins in London down to Paris, but then instead of heading on to Geneva, you're going to take the train, high-speed service to Zurich. They're going to base you in Zurich for one night. We have a lovely hotel called the Du Theatre Hotel, the Du Theatre Hotel, which is just around the corner from the station itself, right in the heart of Zurich. Again, Zurich, very, very walkable, very easy to walk down the river into the old town, just spend the evening there by the river and have a nice bit of dinner before picking up the train from Zurich the next morning to take you through the Elberg Pass. Elberg Pass, again, one of the most scenic journeys in the whole of Europe. We're very lucky that you're able to do it by train, I think, and watch the world go by. Even before you reach the pass, actually, when you leave Zurich, the train will pass along the shores of 2 Swiss lakes. You're going to get some fantastic Swiss countryside as well. And then you're going to hit those Austrian Alps as you cut through the Elberg Pass. It really snakes through the countryside. And there's some fantastic views of some kind of fairy tale-like castles as well. So it's not just all about the mountains and the scenery, but some of the monuments and buildings that you pass really are a sight to behold. You're going to have 2 nights in Salzburg as well, and then you're going to have 3 nights in the imperial capital there of Vienna. So 5 nights in Austria. And then you've got the option of flying back to London, or if you'd like to do something slightly different, the easiest way to get back from Vienna by train is to take the sleeper train from Vienna to Cologne. Really, really nice way to do it. Very, very popular with a lot of our customers taking the sleeper train back. Just adds a different dimension to the holiday. A lot of people kind of romanticize about sleeper trains. It's a really nice way to travel in Europe. We'll make sure that you're booked into a private cabin, of course, so you've got exclusivity in the cabin. And something I would highly recommend would be to book one of the deluxe cabins where you get a private shower and toilet and breakfast that morning as well. There are only 3 private cabins on each overnight service, so you do need to get in quick. And we'll obviously be able to recommend this if you were to call us up and check the availability for you. But really nice way to do it with the privacy of your own cabin, with a breakfast in the morning and a private shower and toilet on board. You'll arrive into Cologne around about 8:15 in the morning, and then it's just a quick high-speed train to Brussels and then the Eurostar back to London. You can actually be back in London for the early afternoon. So really nice round trip by rail. I think this one, you get Zurich, the Elberg Pass, 5 nights in Austria, and then a sleeper train on your way back. Like I say, lots of differences to this trip that make it a bit unique. So a picture of the Elberg Pass here, very kind of Sound of Music, I suppose, and some truly gorgeous views to be experienced. Again, perhaps thinking of maybe upgrading to first class on this particular leg of the journey. As I say, you don't need to upgrade on all parts of the journey, but I think for those scenic routes through the Alps, it really makes sense to do so. Going to have a couple of nights in Salzburg as well. Birthplace, of course, of Mozart, a place to, I suppose, really immerse yourself in culture. It's dominated by churches, castles, palaces, has a real picturesque old town as well, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So lots and lots to see and do in Salzburg over the 2 days that you're there. We can include a Salzburg card for you as well, which gives you access to all the major attractions, which again means that you don't need to queue up. So a really nice place to base for 2 days. And if you wish to see more of the surrounding area, as I mentioned earlier, it's not just hotels you can upgrade to, it's not just the rail, but you can also add on experiences to pretty much all of our holidays. One of the most popular ones in this part of the world is a day trip out to Hallstatt. So we do have a company that we work with in Austria that we're able to book tours to Hallstatt, fully guided tours down to Hallstatt. Hallstatt is a kind of fairy tale Austrian town with breathtaking mountain setting, as you can see there, amazing lake views as well. You can take a boat out onto the lake, visit one of the oldest salt mines in Europe. There's a funicular that takes you up to the hills for spectacular views as well. So we offer these kind of day trips on a lot of our packages. So if you are looking for something a little bit off the beaten path, as well as those major cities, just let us know and we'll be able to find something for you. This is especially popular. The Chinese actually were so enamored with Hallstatt that they've created a replica village back in China because they were so taken aback by the beauty of it. So that perhaps tells you all you need to know. But there is a half-day experience that can be added on from Salzburg to Hallstatt, should you wish. Okay, next holiday we're going to look at here combined 2 of the cities that we've already spoken about. So Venice and Vienna, really, really popular 2-center break here, connected by direct service actually between Venice and Vienna. Very similar actually, in parts to the trips we've seen before as far as the travel goes. But here we actually base you in Lausanne rather than Geneva for the night. As I mentioned earlier, we try and mix and match on our holidays to just give you an idea of everything that's possible. So for this particular holiday, we base you in Lausanne for 1 night before you travel through the Elberg Pass, the Simplon Pass to Venice through those Swiss Alps. You have 2 nights in Venice and 2 nights in Vienna. Now, personally, I would perhaps look at extending that to 3 nights in each. With our pick your perk offer that we've got on at the moment, if you were to increase it to 3 nights in each, we'd be putting a certain amount of money towards that for you, and actually it's not going to cost you a great deal more, so it really makes sense to do that. I think 2 full days in each of these destinations really makes sense. And then again, you've got that overnight journey back to Cologne, on to Brussels, and then on to London. So I mentioned Lausanne here. Now Lausanne for me is probably a little bit more picturesque than Geneva. Geneva itself, perhaps there's a little bit more to do in Geneva, but Lausanne is more picturesque, right on the lakefront, and it's got these wonderful big 5-star hotels on the lakefront as well. So if you're looking for something extra special on your trip, then we can definitely have a look at getting you a lake view in Lausanne. The hotels that we base this on are the 4-star hotels in Lausanne. They are about a 10-minute walk from the lakefront, but still easy to access. But for me, a really, really nice place to start this holiday. And of course, you're going to have a couple of nights in Vienna as well here. So Vienna, imperial capital, of course, famous for its palaces, perhaps the Schönbrunn Palace being the most famous. And we do offer the option of a private guided tour of the Schönbrunn Palace and gardens if you want to learn a bit more about the history. You've got the Spanish riding school as well. It's got a fantastic museum quarter. And if you're into your coffee, Vienna known for its coffee culture as well. So if you're a coffee aficionado, Vienna is a great place to go to experience some fantastic coffee. And just like Salzburg, we offer a Vienna Pass, which helps with transport around the city and access to all the main sites as well. It's also a great place to try and upgrade your hotel. We do have 2 5-star Hilton hotels in Vienna, the Vienna Plaza and the Vienna Park. The Vienna Plaza is a really nice Art Deco style hotel right in the city centre, and extremely affordable. We get very, very good rates at these 2 hotels in the centre of Vienna. Sometimes they're not much more at all to upgrade to the 4-star to the 5-star. And as I say, right in the heart of the city, this is a view from one of the balcony rooms, and there's breakfast served on the balcony as well. So again, if you're looking for something extra special, a little bit of luxury, maybe celebrating a special occasion and traveling off to Vienna, one of these 5-star hotels that we offer would be a nice little addition for you. Okay, so last but by absolutely no means least, we're going to take a look at our Venice Simplon Orient Express trip, including Venice and the Glacier and Bernina Express. So I'm sure it comes as no surprise to you that the Venice Simplon Orient Express is our most popular luxury train journey. And this combination with the Venice Simplon Orient Express is our most popular Venice Simplon Orient Express holiday. I think because you get the luxury of the Orient Express combined with the fantastic scenery that Switzerland has to offer, and those 2 famous Swiss rail journeys on the Bernina Express and the Glacier Express as well really does make it an unforgettable holiday. So this is 8 nights, 9 days. It is a luxury experience, so starting price is $4,929 per person. Again, starts out of London Victoria this time. That's where the Venice Simplon Orient Express departs from, and you're going to have 2 days to experience the majesty of the Venice Simplon Orient Express. They actually start on the British Pullman service out of London Victoria with its Belle Epoque carriages. You'll have a 3.5-hour journey from London to Folkestone, where you'll be served a 4-course Bellini brunch. At Folkestone, you're going to transfer onto a luxury coach to travel under the Channel, and then you'll arrive in Calais, where you're going to pick up the Venice Simplon Orient Express. You'll get shown to your cabin by your porter. They'll give you a tour of the train if you wish, talk to you a little bit about the history of it all, and then they'll show you your cabin, and you'll relax there for a couple of hours before heading off for dinner that evening. And then you'll have the full day on board the Orient Express before you arrive into Venice that evening. We're going to take a little closer look at the Orient Express and what life's like on board in just a moment. So you're going to have your 3 nights in Venice, as I mentioned, 2 full days in Venice, and then you're going to travel via Milan to the little town of Tirano, right on the border between Italy and Switzerland. And this is where the Bernina Express departs from. Bernina Express, incredibly scenic journey, amazing architecture of the rail lines, the viaducts, the spirals that they've managed to create on this wonderful journey. That takes you through to St. Moritz. You'll have 2 nights in St. Moritz, and then you're going to experience the full length of the Glacier Express all the way through to Zermatt, sweeping up through the Swiss Alps and the mountain tops. When you're in Zermatt, you're going to have 2 full days there, and we also include a day trip to the top of the Gornergrat, which gives you magnificent views over the Matterhorn mountain, along with Mont Blanc, probably the most famous European mountain there is. So it's a really, really fantastic way to end your journey. Then it's off to Zurich and then back to London. So the Orient Express, people often talk, I suppose, about the history, the opulence, tradition, the great service, but they forget about all the amazing views that you're going to get whilst on board. The Venice Simplon Orient Express, just like our other holidays, takes you through the Alps. It takes you through the Elberg Pass. In fact, when you wake up in the morning, pull the blinds down, you're going to be in the Austrian countryside. You're going to be traveling through those mountain ranges. You're going to spend, a full day getting to experience the Swiss landscapes, the Austrian countryside, and then into Italy itself as well. So really, really does have some stunning views on board the Orient Express. This is what the cabin likes when you arrive. It is rather small, as you can see, but the reason for that is they've tried to keep with tradition. It's very, very authentic. It harks back to the 1920s and 30s, those first journeys, the original Orient Express journey from Paris through to Istanbul. So you can see how classical it is. You can see how opulent it is. No showers, no toilets in the cabin, no big double beds. It is as it was back then, but very, very classy indeed. You do, of course, have wash basin to freshen up, welcome drink when you arrive. This is where you'll spend the first couple of hours, and then you'll have dinner on board that evening. And before dinner, you'll get to retire to the lounge car, where you'll meet some of your fellow travelers if you wish. There'll be a pianist in the lounge car to play some accompanying music and have a few drinks at the bar. And it's a really nice way to socialize. Traveling by train, that experience of meeting your fellow travelers and hearing their different stories and where they're from and where they're traveling to is a big part of it, if that's what you like. So the lounge car and the Orient Express gives you that chance to mingle. And then you'll have a fantastic dinner that evening. So as haute cuisine, as you can imagine, all the food is freshly prepared and cooked on board. It's a real private, exclusive dinner for you there. Everything is very formal. It will be black tie for the men and smart dress for the women. And there are 3 spectacular dining carriages that are all set out in different ways. And you can actually have a look at all 3, and you can ask to have dinner in the one of your choice. So it's a really nice touch. They give you the option to pick the dining carriage that you would like to eat in. I did mention that in the cabins, there are no double beds. There are no private showers. And they do look, rather small. So what they did a couple of years ago is they introduced the Grand Suite accommodation on board the Orient Express. Now, there are only a couple of these on board. It is almost like a hotel on wheels, or in a royal palace on wheels, I suppose we could say. It does have a huge double bed. It does have a private shower. You're weighted on hand and foot. It does come with everything that you would imagine this type of room to come with. Of course, it also comes with an additional price point as well. It probably takes the price from 4,000 up to about 8,000 per person. So, this is for a big special occasion, or if you're just used to traveling in this type of luxury. But I think it's nice just to mention that this is on offer on the Orient Express. If you've always thought, I'd love to travel, but I didn't fancy the bunk beds, or I didn't fancy not having a shower, and I'm happy to spend a bit more money because I've always wanted to travel and I want the grandeur of my own suite on board the train, then there is an option for you. You're going to have a bit of time in Venice, of course, and as I mentioned, you can add experiences in any of our cities. In Venice, we have a couple of options there. One is a go behind the scenes in Venice, explore the historic gondola boatyards, how they're built, meet some of the gondoliers themselves. We also have a tour that takes you out to explore the islands of Murano, Burano, and Torcello as well. So I always think Venice, you probably need a day and a half to explore the island. And then that other half day, it's really nice to take a historical tour or travel around some of the other islands of the area. I did mention, of course, as well, the Glacier Express and the Bernina Express and the incredible scenery that you're going to see as you travel along these routes. Just to mention as well, the Glacier Express, which is affectionately known, I should say, as the slowest express train in the world, only runs about 25 miles an hour. And it means you really do get to soak up all those great views. And they added what's called excellence class to the train. So this real exclusive carriage they added a couple of years back. There's only one on each train. There's only 16 seats in excellence class. As you can see here, it's got these incredible panoramic windows, these huge seats. You get a 5-course meal on board, your own private bar. So it's a real luxurious way, probably the most luxurious way to see the Swiss Alps. And it is about a 7-hour journey on board the Glacier Express all the way from St. Moritz through to Zermatt. So this is the best way to experience the Glacier Express, something that I'd highly recommend. And finally, the Bernina Express. I mentioned that earlier as well. Real feat of engineering. If you've ever seen picture postcards of rails in Switzerland, it will have been of the Bernina Express. It will have been of the Landwasser Viaduct. It will have been of the Brochures spirals. It's their piece de la resistance when it comes to rail travel. It's probably what they're most proud of, and it's an incredibly spectacular and scenic route. It's probably my favourite rail journey I've ever taken. I could talk to you about it for a long time, but I won't. But it's just another part of this holiday. So not only do you get the Orient Express, not only do you get Venice, not only do you get the Glacier Express, you get the Bernina Express as well, and you also, as I mentioned, get that trip to the top of the Gornergrat and the Matterhorn as well. So this holiday really does encompass pretty much everything you'd want on a rail holiday. Okay, so that concludes the 5 trips that we're going to look at today. As I mentioned, we've really probably only scratched the surface of what we have to offer. A lot of you, I'm sure, will have found us through the website anyway, but if you haven't and you want to have a look at a few more of our holidays, please do go online. I'm really pleased to say as well that we have a brand spanking new website as well. We haven't been sitting on our hands for the last 12 months while it's been quiet. We've really been looking to push forward. So we've got a brand new website as well for you to take a look at, which only went live last week. And please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to give us a call. Our travel consultants definitely haven't been speaking to as many people as they would be used to over the last 12 months. They're really itching just to get talking about travel again. So even if you just want a bit of inspiration, a few ideas of what's possible, you're just in the early stages of planning that next trip, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Our travel consultants will be more than happy, ready and waiting to talk to you and give you any information that you might need. So just before I let you all go, I know it's a lovely evening, or it is where I am anyway. Sorry to rub it in if it's not where you are, but in the southeast of England, it's a glorious evening. So if you do have any questions, I'll just mute myself for a couple of moments. I'm sure you're probably sick of my voice anyway, but I'll give you a couple of minutes peace and quiet. And if there are any questions that you'd like answering, please do pop them into the questions box, and I'll do my very best to answer them before we go. All right, thanks ever so much. Okay, thanks everybody. So we did have quite a few questions that have come in. Actually, I'm not sure I'll be able to get round to all of them, but I'll try and get through to a few of them now. So we did have one that's come through from, who was the first one? From Nicola. She was asking how accessible the trains are for anybody that might have difficulties walking or uses a stick. So yeah, really good question actually. I mean, like first I'd say customers of all ages, all walking abilities do take our holidays. The trains around Europe, especially Switzerland and Italy, the high-speed Frecciarossa, Frecciabianca trains, and even the rail jets through Austria are all very modern, you know, and accessible. So you're not going to have to walk too far, you know, to board the train. There's no big steps to climb to get on board the trains. There will be assistance at the stations. What I can't say for definite is that all stations will be stair free. So I can't say that for sure. But the trains themselves, especially on the more well trodden paths of the railway network, are very accessible. And again, you know, our guys on the phones will be able to coordinate with the rail operators and try and make it as easy as possible for you if you do need you know, help on and off the trains in certain destinations. Then you know, we can try and make that as easy as possible for you. So you know, I definitely wouldn't rule train travel out if you have a bit of difficulty walking. It's definitely something that you could still enjoy, and really it'd just be a case of taking it trip by trip and giving you the best information that we can and seeing what suits you, to be honest. But really good question, Nicola, thanks ever so much, and one that we do get a lot as well, because people often do like to know, you know, how accessible it is for train travel. So no, thanks for your question. Got a question from Alan here as well, who's asking about the upgrades on the Glacier Express to excellence class. Good question, Alan. Yeah, and it isn't cheap to upgrade to excellence class on the Glacier Express. It does for us. It is different to the public rates because we get different rates to the public, so it does depend on availability. You're probably looking, to be honest, anywhere between 250 and 350 pounds per person for the excellence class on board the Glacier Express. Like I say, at the moment we've got a little promotion going which can put a bit of money towards that, but yeah, it will depend on the time of year and how busy it is with supply and demand. But yeah, you're probably looking in that region with ourselves, about 250 to 350 to upgrade on board that particular train to the excellence class. There is a standard class and a first class, just to point out. And first class is very comfortable as a standard class. The excellence class is just this premium service that they've introduced over the last couple of years, which really gives you that added luxury as well. But yeah, it is relatively expensive to upgrade. Question here from Joan as well, asking if you were limited to the hotels that you've seen on the webinar, or the ones on the website. So good question. Not limited to the ones on the website. We've got hundreds and hundreds of hotels that we use across all our cities, destinations. So there will be more on offer than the ones that you just see on the website. In saying that, we're not able to book every single hotel out there. We do have relationships in place with the hotels that we use. We handpick all of our hotels. Our product team goes out and meets the owners, and we have a personal relationship, and we make sure that it fits the criteria. And we want to make sure that it's a hotel that fits in with the what we expect the quality of our holidays to stand up to. So if there is a particular hotel that you're interested in, then do let us know and we'll do our very best to get it for you. It may well be one that we use. We'll probably also ask you questions, you know, what is it about that particular hotel that you love, and we'll try and find one as close to that hotel as possible if we can't get the exact one. Really, it's about, for us, finding out what's what you want, what you want out of your holiday, and then tailoring that to you. So really good question, and we do have a vast range of hotel options, anywhere from 3-star all the way through to 5-star luxury, and hopefully we can find the right one for you. Okay, a few questions actually here on people joined a bit late, just asking if they can get a recording, and absolutely within the next 24 hours we'll make sure that everybody that was on the presentation today did get a copy of it. So if you missed anything or you want to sit through it again, God forbid perhaps, but no, if you want to sit through it again, we're going to make sure that you all get a recording so you can listen to it in your own time. Okay, well, thanks to everybody for joining me today. The last thing for me to say really is I hope you're all well. I hope you're staying safe. I know it's been a difficult time for us all over the last 12 months or so, but hopefully things will start to open up more and more over the next few months, and we can all get out traveling again. So hopefully we'll speak to you all soon. Do enjoy the sun, enjoy your Easter, and yeah, take care. All right, thanks everybody. Bye bye now.